So an update on where I'm at in life. So I've been doing transcendental meditation. You check out my previous podcast I did was one right after I did my first transcendental meditation on my own. I've been doing it for about 2 weeks now, and yeah, the benefits I'm starting to notice, mainly in that like the thoughts in my mind are less loud, and things don't seem to bother me as much, and this relaxation is starting to carry further and further into my day, which is kind of cool. I have also been reflecting on the past few years of, I don't know, everything, my business decisions, my relationship decisions, the person I was, the values I had, the things that I focused on and cared about and thought were important to me. And I wrote up this big letter last night. I was actually writing it to my wife, who I'm separated with at the moment, just about, I think, really just acknowledging the idea of that I was more impressed with my life and my status and not as involved in my life, in the people around me, in the people that were in my life, just being more involved in them. And I think that a lot of the relationship problems that I had, and then also not just relationship, but that question of purpose and meaning and what am I doing with my life, and then taking directions from people who I measured myself against, who were much more successful, monetarily anyway, wealth-wise. They had achieved a higher level of wealth than I had significantly, and so I assumed that by looking at someone in a measuring stick of wealth, that would also mean that other areas of their life would be successful. That rich people, they don't have money problems, so surely that they wouldn't have the other problems that us not rich people have. And it's totally not true. And it's just been, so anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I think I've been thinking a lot about where the direction I'm going and what I want to be doing and what I want to be doing in 6 months or 12 months or 3 years. And I've been frustrated and impatient with not knowing that. Since selling the business, I felt like I needed to know exactly what I was doing next, and to be building or working on something like a business or a skill or something like that. And I've just been choosing areas of interest, and that has led me on a deep dive back into exploring myself. My mate's cat distracted me, I don't know if you heard that. And so I sort of chose my own path without thinking about it. I just chose what naturally felt right. And I think that is probably the best way. I just followed my sort of intuition on what I was spending my time and energy and money on. And as a result, I ended up doing a transcendental meditation course, and I've been practicing that, and I've been reflecting on some of the paths and sort of just chilling out and enjoying the process of, right now, I'm just a solo salesperson earning really good money comparatively to a lot of other opportunities. The time that I spend on my role and the money that I make is extremely good. It's a really good, trade-off. I think I only do about 20 hours a week, and I mean, if I average my income over the last 3 months of just doing this role, it's I don't know, probably be somewhere above 15 grand a month. Yeah, it'd be somewhere around that before tax. So whatever that works out to be, 10 grand a month, two and a bit grand a week. Very comfortable, and this allowed me to pay my debts down. And because I already know the role so well, and I've been doing it for so long time, it doesn't take a lot of energy from me. And actually, that idea of being less impressed and more involved comes from Matthew McConaughey's book. I'm going to do a separate podcast after this to talk about some of the books I've been reading, but definitely recommend Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. It's his sort of memoir of his journey to where he is as of today, as a 50-year-old man, and the paths and decisions and people along the way. Really interesting, and just some of the frameworks that he has come up with and realizes. But yeah, being less impressed, one of the examples he used was on he used to have a pickup truck with a megaphone on it, and he would go, as a high school, or, whatever, and he'd drive down the lane and be like, oh, look at the short skirt on Susie. Oh, Susie, look good. And everyone would laugh, and it was fun. And she'd pick up chicks, and he'd take them out to the mud tracks and do go drive, drifting in the mud and stuff, and just have a bit of fun with them, being involved. And then at a certain point in time, he traded his truck in and got a red sports car, and he would sit in the parking lot and he would lean against his sport car and try and have the chicks come up to him, and he's noticing after some time that no chicks were coming up to him. No one was impressed. No one came up to him, or he wasn't picking up chicks, and the other guys in their trucks who would do the fun stuff with the girls were picking up all his chicks. And he fucking went back in, swapped the car back over, got his truck back, went back down, went on the megaphone, said some shit, and picked up girls and went back out to the mud tracks. It's just rather than being less impressed with yourself and your status and your materials and who you are and where you are, and just being more involved in other people and showing that you care and taking an interest in them. And it's something that I like. If you read the book, he delivers in it. I actually, rather than reading the book, I'd totally recommend to listen to the audiobook, because Matthew McConaughey does the audiobook, and it's something he does it with so much enthusiasm and charisma. It's a really good read. Listen. But yeah, so I can't remember where I started going off on a tangent on that side of things, being less impressed and more involved in some of the areas where I found that I was doing that in the past was, being impressed with being a business owner that was pulling a good income, that wasn't working many hours. And I've even said that in this podcast already, so I'm still saying shit like that. Being a fully sick racer dude that, spends a lot of time at the track and can race a bike real fast, and having a hot Russian wife and a cute, cool, smart little boy, and living in a real nice townhouse in some of the nicest areas of the nicest areas of Australia, and just all this fucking bullshit, and supporting my family and wife financially, but emotionally, I think I was very status and materialistic driven, and not, driven to be involved with people on an emotional level and physical level. And it's been really good to reflect. So I've inadvertently, unintentionally, I've naturally just chosen to really double down on my self-development path of myself, and this meditation has actually helped a lot. Just that clarity of mind that's coming through, and it's really early days. There's things that you learn in the meditation course about some of the levels that you get to after you've been doing it for a long time, and sort of, I suppose, look deeper within, able to reach deeper within yourself. yeah, 12 months ago, I honestly would not have thought that I would have been open to doing meditation. I had this stigma on, it's like sitting in and you're like trying to focus on your breathing and like, and then like think about, I don't know what it is, but this transcendental meditation is so easy. It's just like you just sit down and allow all the thoughts to come through, and you have this mantra, which is it's a word. You're not saying it, you're saying it mentally, and you just, as the thoughts come through, you just try and shift from the thought back to that mantra, and so you sort of just, it allows that thought just to dissipate. And so you just sit there for 20 minutes in your mind, just super relaxed, just allowing thoughts to come through and just like trying to keep coming back to that mantra. And it's just super relaxing to just sort of be repetitively thinking about that mantra. And by the last sort of like 5 minutes of it, I'm just, you can feel the difference. It's a 20-minute meditation twice a day, morning and evening. And like at the current, while I'm making this podcast, I'm getting to about like, it's somewhere around 15 minutes. I could just kind of tell it's towards the end of meditation where the thoughts aren't coming through as fast, and the meditation, like the mantra that I'm saying, is a little bit softer, and there's kind of this like balance point between the two where there's not really a lot of thought and there's not really a lot of mantra. It's just sort of like rest, and it feels awesome. Like, because I can't think of very many times in my life that my mind truly gets to rest. It's just going actively, just thinking about fucking random shit, uncontrollable, especially if you're busy and you're in a role that has like deadlines and dealing with large sums of money and, complaints and customers and all this stuff. It's just all sort of ticking over, and you go into bed and you're like, I forgot to do that. You write shit down. It's like this meditation process just really allows you to sort of be more present in each thing. So rather than if you're dealing with a customer, to be 100% present with that customer. And then as another issue comes up, you can be dealing with that and not thinking about that customer. You've already dealt with that customer. Now you're dealing with this issue, rather than, and like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. But I think that the idea of resting your mind, like, it's just this really powerful sort of machine that we use a lot. Even when you dream, even when you're sleeping, you're dreaming, you're thinking, your mind is like processing guilt and doubts and anxieties and fears, and like it's just like it's constantly sort of working. Whereas when you're meditating in this manner, it's like, okay, let's like chill out and calm down and so then throughout the day, because I'm a little bit calmer and I'm a little bit more relaxed, the things just don't sting as much, Like I'm prone to giving people the finger when I'm driving because people do stupid shit, and I'm noticing more so, like it's something that I've been thinking about for a few months. I've been sort of working on that. I've calmed down my driving, and I'm like, and because I'm listening to audiobooks, and I'm actually really enjoying my drive. Rather than thinking about the destination, I'm really enjoying my drive, the process towards the destination. Enjoy the process, and the destination will come. And that's been a really good framework for me to practice in my life. Enjoy the process. Don't be so concerned about the destination. And because a lot of the people that I've learned that through will talk about the destination that you're hoping for will come if you're able to enjoy the process and sustain the process until you reach that destination. If you don't enjoy the process, the likelihood of you sustaining that process to achieve that final destination is very much so less likely, or it could be just more stressful and consume more energy. And so even something as simple as driving somewhere, because I'm enjoying my drive, I'm not worried about how many red lights I hit or how much traffic there is or how late I'll be to wherever I am, because I'm actually really enjoying my drive. And so I changed something about my drive to make it more enjoyable. So there's probably some way of doing that with every process, but there are probably some processes that are just not natural to you. Like for me, I've recently realized that me posting 25 pieces of content to social media platforms every week is not a process